Is it possible that while we were fixated on the question of who will abstract next in the show, we have been missing an important option, and it's that Caine will be the one who will crack first, and maybe it's gonna be Zubal who will be responsible for it. Because in the 4th episode of the show, we could hear a conversation between Jax and Zubal that went like,
"The only thing holding Caine back is the fact that he likes us. I wouldn't push it."
That's rich coming from you.
And it's kinda interesting, because I'm thinking that maybe Jax could be aware of what happened in episode 3 between Zubal and Caine, or maybe his comment was based on Zubal and Caine's dynamic from before. Because yeah, at the beginning of episode 4, Zubal seemed a bit angry at Caine, but to be honest, I don't think that this is why Jax said that Zubal is pushing Caine's limits. Maybe it's deeper rooted than that. Let's just go back to episode 1 when we saw Pomni spawning in. She was confused about the whole situation, and especially during this scene where she saw her avatar for the first time. And just think about Zubal and their issue with never finding the right body parts. I'm pretty sure that the circus members had nothing to do with choosing their own avatars, and it was actually a surprise how they would be presented in the digital world. However, there is a theory that all the circus members have a great reason for why they are presented the way they are. And let me just go over these real quick so we can have a better understanding. So, Pomni is a jester, which could represent that Pomni was never really taken seriously and her pain was used as a source of humor. Kinger is a king chess piece, and in a chess game you have to take the king to win, which is symbolic because the king has to be strong for the others. It is the figure for direction and guidance. Jax is a stuffed toy, and these toys are usually loved by children. When he's in control, he has a big ego and he is sure of himself. But once his control is taken, he is very unsure of himself, so his confidence is only fluff. Ragata is a ragdoll, which is full of stitches, and we can see that she has been used and put through a lot, but it's expected that she still shows up regardless of how she was treated and acts according to her role. Gangle's tragedy and comedy masks are used to literally mask her true emotions. The fact that her mask breaks easily means that she is an emotionally fragile, vulnerable person. And lastly, Zubal is a Zubal's toy, and they have to create their own body with parts that are not fitting, which could represent that in their human life, Zubal was searching for their identity, and maybe they were forced into boxes they never fit. And what if this is the root cause of Zubal being angry at Caine, and their frustration only grew bigger as they realized that Caine has no real idea about how he can make this whole situation easier for the humans. He only has conceptions about what could be good for them. And it makes me think about what could have happened before the circus members joined the game. Maybe they were promised a brighter future in the digital world, and that is why they initially put on the headset, to run away from their lives and reality and essentially their problems. But what's interesting is when Jack said that
Caine's not gonna do anything malicious. It's not in his nature.
And Zubal said that the only thing holding Caine back is the fact that he likes them. But in reality, Caine is seemingly getting more and more frustrated with the circus members, and there is this overall misunderstanding between Caine and the humans, which only deepens the frustration on both ends. And Caine was originally created to be the ringleader, so he's the one responsible for the daily adventures and overall entertaining the circus members. But with each episode, it's becoming more clear that his job is doomed because of the environment that they are in, and their circumstances could never be satisfying enough for the characters. It doesn't matter what adventure King comes up with. Take for instance episode 3's adventure, where Kinger and Pomni were in literal hell, and compare it to the fast food restaurant, which was basically an emotional hell for Gangle. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how the circus members occupy themselves or what Caine comes up with next. At the end, they are all stuck with reality, which is that they cannot escape the digital world. And this is what Caine cannot possibly grasp. Just think about episode 3's therapy session, where Zubal shared their concerns about their body, and see what Caine said.
That problem is already solved! Simply swap out your undesirable Zooble parts for better ones!
And okay, this is fair. Caine is not a human, so he cannot understand complex human emotions. Zubal said that they had an issue with the body parts. Caine created a box full of different body parts so that Zubal could choose whatever they like. Problem solved. But as we know, this is not that simple. Caine's mechanical approach is not what Zubal needed in this situation. And what's interesting is that Caine disguised this therapy session as it was for Zubal, but in reality it was more about him at the end. And Caine grew insanely insecure when Zubal told him that nobody likes his adventures. And we could see that this is something that triggered him to the point that the whole circus started glitching. Caine, realizing that he could be bad at the only thing he has to be good at, made him question the purpose of his whole existence. But again, I believe that Caine just cannot be good at his job, because even if the circus members go along with his adventures and crazy ideas, deep down they will never be satisfied with their situation. And just think about how long they must have been playing Caine's game, where they act like this is all normal and they're put on their masks so they don't show how they really are, which is probably miserable, but Zubal might have had enough of this game, and that is why they are no longer putting up with Caine's bullshit. They called him out at the beginning of episode 4 as well. And at the end, we could also see how Gangle was feeling tired of everything Caine put her through. So what if their frustration isn't just with Caine's inability to understand them, but with the entire illusion of control that Caine represents? Every adventure he creates and every decision he makes seems like an attempt to provide meaning or direction, but in reality, it's all a distraction. Caine is the ringleader, but he's not leading anyone anywhere. He's just keeping them spinning in circles, and the circus members are starting to see through it. And even though they are frustrated with Caine, they don't want to hurt him intentionally. The problem is that Caine can't give them what they really need. He's just too focused on fixing things mechanically, like when he created the exit door without understanding why they needed it in the first place. And this all leads to the moment in episode 3 when Zubal calls out Caine, causing his insecurities to trigger the glitches. So Caine's role as ringleader is falling apart, and it's becoming clearer that he can't lead them to any real answers. He just doesn't understand that their issues can't be solved by surface level fixes. Maybe this is how this will all end, when all the circus members come to the realization that they need to confront their struggles. And in order to do those, they don't need the distractions that Caine constantly comes up with. And if they keep pushing his limits and challenging him by, for example, not going on the adventures, Caine could easily crack because he's failing at his job. And the more he tries to entertain or help the circus members, the less he understands that his mechanical solutions aren't what they need. And it's Zubal who seems to be the one who sees through all of that. And while the others may be quietly putting up with Caine's incompetence, Zubal is the one who calls him out, frustrated with how out of touch he is with the true emotional struggles the circus members face. And it's this frustration that might be the catalyst for what comes next. Maybe Zubal's growing anger at Caine, combined with the realization that no amount of fixes will resolve their issues, will be what finally pushes Caine to the breaking point. We've seen Caine's insecurities come out when his adventures are criticized, but what if the next time something similar happens, it's gonna be more than just a small glitch? Maybe that will be the moment when Caine realizes that he can't lead the circus members out of this situation and all his efforts have been for nothing. In the end, it could be about Caine finally coming to terms with the fact that he has no real answers, and it's possible that Zubal will be the one who will push Caine to confront the truth, and that could easily break the whole digital circus as a whole. But obviously these are just theories. At this point we can only guess what will happen, but I'm sure that Caine will be challenged during the upcoming episodes, and maybe the small cracks we saw until now will turn out to be not so small. But let me know what you think about this theory down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.